Probably the most anticlimactic bill of the morning, House Bill 83, passed through the House today for the second time. This is the immigration bill we're talking about, and it already passed the House more than a month ago by the same margin as it did today. But it was amended when it got to the Senate, so it had to go back to the House for final approval of those changes. The original, by the way, was a copycat of a Texas law that is still tied up in court. So the newer version is a combination of two immigration bills we've seen this session to make it more cooperative with the federal government, whose actual role is immigration enforcement. So no more deportation aspect of this bill, but it still makes illegal entry into Idaho a misdemeanor and re-entry into Idaho a felony. And those charges can only be considered when that person has already been detained or being investigated for allegedly committing another crime. The crafters of this bill point out this would eliminate the possibility of racial profiling, which is a rather rich thing to say considering that is already what's happening.
About 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, a friend of mine, him and his brothers, were going to the dump in a pickup, old pickup and a trailer, and they got stopped in Caldwell. And the cops said they were stopping them because they had run a red light, but they didn't run a red light. Anyway, the cop asked them, all of them, for their IDs, identifications, all three of them. And they were born here in Idaho. They're U.S. citizens. You know, they told me about it, and I said, that's not right. That's not right.
Brenda Rodriguez spoke with Rudy a couple of weeks ago to find out from the common citizen their concerns with House Bill 83. And what he just described happens often already, we're told by numerous people. So House Bill 83 won't really change that aspect, but there's already a risk of getting pulled over for speeding and getting deported. We're told, though, this is a better bill than the original, according to a Boise-based immigration attorney. We first spoke with J.J. Despain 2 months ago, right after the first flash of House Bill 83 was introduced. He says this amended version creates less conflict with the feds, which means fewer toes being stepped on. It would get the ball rolling for immigration customs enforcement agents, but it should limit abuse of power by local police who could consider themselves deputized ICE agents. Instead of a traffic violation, it has to be more of a domestic violence situation now.
As part of an actual police report, an investigation, maybe they bring someone into the station. Now part of that is they can also find out what their status is. We have this person, we know he doesn't have a work permit or a visa, and he's been in the country illegally, and he's entered this many times. So they can basically do a little more of their own investigation to give ICE a head start.
Well, there is a part of this bill that Despain says caught his eye. The abatement of prosecution on basis of immigration status determination, which basically says Idaho will continue to prosecute you even while your immigration status is being figured out. Despain told us today, even the feds will put a criminal case on hold while they sort out the immigration stuff. Maybe you've already applied for a visa or asylum, and while you're waiting for that approval, you get picked up on a suspicion of a crime. And that part being in this bill, where Idaho will continue with the prosecution of illegal entry, could be considered problematic.
I would say so, yeah. This is definitely something where the states are kind of messing with the federal government's power here, where the federal government can say someone's here legally now, but a state might say, yeah, but they're still being convicted because of, yeah, maybe they have status now, but they didn't back when we arrested them, and they still have to suffer some kind of consequence for that.
So that could cause a problem with this bill.
It could, maybe later on, maybe they get that visa, fine, but then next time they apply for something like a green card or citizenship, now they say, well, we see you have this misdemeanor on your record. And they might have to say, well, yeah, that basically on the immigration side, that got all cleared up, but the state of Idaho still considers me to have this record. And that could maybe just open up more questions, more confusion.
Slow down the process for immigration status.
Yeah.
Yeah, likely adding more months or even years to someone gaining legal citizenship status. House Bill 83, as amended in the Senate, now heads to the governor for his likely signature.